up next, the topic that is about to be in focus is around smart construction, new ways to enhance building performance. So that's going to be the theme for our next session. In fact, this particular session will be chaired by Deben, Moza, Senior Executive Director, Head of Project Management Services, Knight Frank, India. And he comes with over 2 decades of professional experience in architecture, construction, project management, and corporate relocations. So before I invite our speakers, once again, I think we all know the drill. The previous set of speakers, I request you to take your discussion in the pre-function area. As for the rest of the audience, please be seated so that we can get started with the fireside chat. Meanwhile, let me take a minute to also introduce our set of speakers lined up for the fireside chat. Joining Deben Moza, we also have with us Himanshu Agrawal, President, Tikidan Danosa India Private Limited. He heads the business and operations at Tikidan Danosa, which is an Indo-Spanish joint venture in construction chemicals and building materials. So first up, if I could please invite Deben Moza to please come on the stage. And if I may also please invite Himanshu Agrawal to please come on stage. Our next speaker we have with us Prashant Karwe, Senior Vice President and Head of Design, the House of Abhinandan Lodha. He's also an architect and accredited professional of the IGBC, a strategist and leader who brings the projects of over 30 years of experience. So if I could also invite Prashant Karwe to please come on stage. All right, a quick request to all the ones who are continuing the group discussion. Can we please request you to take it to the pre-function area, Tripti? If I could also request your assistance in this. And I'm going to request you all to kindly proceed to the pre-function area. I see a lot of people seated right behind, and I don't want to disturb them either. Just a humble request. Yes, we really appreciate that. If you can take forward your discussions so that we can honor everybody's time. Let me also invite our next speaker. Once again, we have with us Subhakar Surapaneni, Chairman, Champion Group. And he's someone who leads the Champion Group, which is a multinational global conglomerate with over 200 crores in revenue and forays into marketing, outsourcing, as well as new age integrated data and digital marketing solutions. And with that, our final speaker we have with us, Tejwant Navalkar, Executive Director, DFX Systems Private Limited. Having founded DFX Systems Private Limited in 1985, this is one organization that provides engineering consultancy across the HVAC, HVAC systems, building automation, and software for customized applications for projects of varied nature. So on that note, I know we called it a fireside chat, but it can't be a fireside chat if we don't get a feisty round of applause from our audience. So can we all come together? Bring that energy back in the air, everyone, louder. Everyone, louder and louder and louder. Beautiful indeed. I'm going to quickly hand it over to Deben Moza. Over to you, sir.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you so much. I was trying to count the number of people that are on stage and people that are listening to us. Thankfully, the number is decent, and I wish that more people can come and join us. All right. No, it's always encouraging to see more people listening to you. Good to be back after 2.5 years. We've been having a lot of virtual chats or virtual webinars. I think we got so fatigued with webinars that everybody was keenly waiting for conferences like this to happen. So the topic is smart construction, new ways to enhance building performance. The term smart construction has a wide range of interpretations and applications. While the fundamentals of construction have not changed significantly since time of Romans, there have been introduction of many new techniques and technologies over the time to improve the efficiency of buildings and bring effectiveness in construction process. As a result of drastic change in environment, increase in footfall, surge in demand, rising awareness of mindful usage of resources, construction industry was introduced to innovative and improved processes. Though our construction industry is continually criticized for being inefficient, fragmented, and slow to innovate, there is an increasing belief that newly available technologies and changes in work practices could now bring about a real change. From a decade from now, there have been many successful additions in construction, which are now started to get implemented at prelim levels, industry has realized the importance and has started to implement these techniques like designing smart buildings, focus on low carbon footprint, improving workplace strategies, implementing BIM in construction and facility management, precast construction, and locally sourced material, 3D printing, and extra. Professionals are now realizing the advantages of these technologies that provide immense efficiencies to construction. Not only does smart building design save money, but it also helps businesses to meet their green goals and responsibilities. I'll start this panel discussion with a quote from Steve Jobs, which goes as, "Technology is nothing. What is important that you have faith in people, that they are basically good and smart. If you give them tools, they will do wonderful things with them." I'm privileged to be moderating this panel, and I'm sure with the wealth of experience all the panelists bring to table, we'll have an interesting discussion and some great takeaways from audience. Please join me in welcoming Himanshu Agrawal, Prashant Karwe, Tejwant Navalkar, and Subhakar Rao. So I'll start my panel discussion with the question to Subhakar. Smart construction in the space of lagoons and technology you're using. First, tell us what lagoons are.
Fantastic. I think today a lot of us know about large pools, and we're wondering what lagoons are. Lagoons are the new way of creating exotic beach destinations in the middle of every construction project. So you don't need to necessarily go to Goa or go to a beach destination to experience this, right? Who wouldn't want to live on a beach? All of us do. So we're bringing around 100 of these lagoon projects, beach lagoons across India. So smart construction, when it comes to lagoons, each lagoon is like, say, 10 acres of a large water body. Very hard to maintain. If you need to keep it smart maintenance, you need to make sure you don't use so much chlorine like you use in a pool, right? A 10-acre water body will consume tons of chlorine if you treat it like a regular water body. And smart monitoring, you have to constantly monitor it using techniques like telemetry to ensure the quality of water is maintained at turquoise blue level, high quality, and use new ways of cleaning the water versus using large pump rooms, which is very common in even a small swimming pool has a large pump room. While a 10-acre swimming pool, a beach lagoon, you can think of it, you'll need an acre of a pump room if you do it like with old technology. While you're using new age waves to clean water, new mobile boats which move in the lagoon to clean water. Technology like that. See, today, smart construction is no longer just about making it fast. Obviously, we expect it to be faster. We have a prefabs division called Champion Prefabs. We do like fast construction of homes and all. That is one, but the real smartness today is being environmentally friendly. And the real value that we bring is by being one of those less on carbon emissions, one of those who is less consuming power, less usage of chemicals, being healthy, being eco-friendly.
So, this is a question I've been, thinking a lot about. Many of our cities, major cities, suffer with scarcity of water. And you bring this new concept of lagoons. How do you manage? Because there's already a scarcity of drinking water, and then we're creating lagoons for recreation.
Now, the beauty of crystal lagoon technology is there is a lining at the bottom which enables low evaporation. It can use any water, so it's not like you need specific drinking water. It obviously is cleaning even some of your lake waters, any of the other water that you can procure. And it's a one-time fill. with very low evaporation. So you're being very eco-friendly as well as using up some of the water that you couldn't otherwise use. And a lot of these projects use rainwater harvesting. They're done over 18 months. That's how long it takes for a crystal lagoon to be done. And during this period, whatever the rainwater that is used up in that area is predominantly used for filling almost half of it.
So which cities in India you're coming up with these projects?
We're already deploying in Bangalore and Tamil Nadu, but we also have projects currently underway in Delhi. We're talking to some in Mumbai right now. We're envisioning it to be in roughly 100 different towns and cities in India. So it's going to become one of those, wow, I have it in my own city proposition. So everyone is going to have a beach in your own hometown. Brace up.
Okay, coming to Prashant. This topic of smart construction, do you think our colleges are teaching the upcoming architects about smart construction?
Hello. Hello.
Even that's working.
Firstly, when we look at the building envelope as a structure, I think the architect is the person who plays a pivotal role in whatever is being constructed. So it is imperative and it is very necessary that the student, the person who is actually getting into the field of architecture, is educated on how to design a building which is eco-friendly and how to design a building which is smart. Currently, what is being taught in colleges or what has been getting taught in colleges is not in tandem and not commensurate with the current environment conditions that are there. Students in architecture are being taught how to design buildings, how to look at the aesthetic, how to look at the color palettes, the materials and all other things, save and except the environment part of it. The environment subject is there, but unfortunately it is not the key subject in the entire curriculum. So what happens is at the end of the complete course, what comes out of the college is a student who is very good in his overall geometry and very good in his aesthetics, but not at all up to the mark to what the current climate conditions are demanding or what the environment is currently demanding. An architect who is sound in his applicability of design as far as not only the space, but the cohesion of the structure that is designing with the environment. We are noticing that the climate is going haywire, the months, the seasons. It is no longer 4 months into 3 seasons. It is going to 4.5 months, 5 months, rains coming anytime, winds coming anytime. So all these things are getting imbalanced, and construction and in a way building design is affecting all that. So till until the students are educated on all these fronts, that firstly, how do you plan a building? Take into account the sun path movements, the wind directions, the overall geography of that placement, and then design a product which will be sustainable and eco-friendly. Till until that happens, I don't think we'll be coming up with good quality buildings which are actually, in a real sense, can be a LEED Platinum or a LEED Gold rated buildings.
So tell us about what is that house of Abhinandan Lodha. You are Senior VP and Head of Design. How differently are you designing buildings compared to other developers in terms of smart design, smart construction?
We as a company, we are doing more of plotted development. So our focus is more on the infrastructure and horizontal land development and less on construction. If we are to look at a land parcel of around 100 acres, we are constructing just about, let's say 20-30,000 square feet of built form. That built form also, we are very cautious when we are planning that built form. We take into account, as I told you, the local materials that are available, the local environment that prevails in that area, and we design the structure such that it is sustainable and low on maintenance. All the projects that we are doing are out of Mumbai. So we have to be very cautious on the materials that are available. We cannot think about high-end materials which are coming from metros. So we go in for all sustainable and locally available materials. Less of cut fill, less of land filling, and less of construction is what we look at. So all in all our projects are nearing to LEED Gold, and some are approaching LEED Platinum.
Great. Himanshu, your company deals in waterproofing solutions, acoustics, flooring, joints and sealants, so all building materials. How do you contribute to the smart construction?
Deben, first I would like to tell the audience and my panelists here, India always had smart construction. Yeah, if you go in our ancient things, we've always built smart. That's the beauty of it. Just to give you a quick example, go to Rajasthan, walk into any Killa, fort. Yeah, you in all these forts you would find Rani ka Jharokha, yeah, those kind of things. Just walk into that room. You would be pleasantly surprised that even in scorching heat, when the outside temperature is 50 degrees in that place, still you would feel a cool breeze coming in. Now, if you just go into the depth of it, why this is happening, the temperature outside is 50, you would find that the wind is flowing in that direction. It is passing over a water body, which could be natural or man-made. So the water is getting cooled. The Jharokha is basically an orifice. Yeah? So it's working on a physics principle that air first contracts and then suddenly expands into the room, and expanding air would cool. Yeah? So inside you get a cool air. Marvel. No technology, no air conditioning, nothing, no energy is being used. It's smart construction. The noise inside, it may be in one of the noisiest place, but you hardly hear sound inside. Yeah? Those are some things, so we have been smart. However, over years, either we have lost that smartness, or for practical reasons, because now we don't build it that way. The construction is happening differently. So we have to rely more on technologies now. Coming to the different technology. Now, when we say smart, we do not realize that water seeping into buildings. Yeah? You go to any government building here in Mumbai, it has seepage spots on the walls. I don't want to talk about the private buildings. Why? Don't we realize it's not just dripping water on our heads, but this moisture which is inside is leading to asthma. It's leading to a lot of lung and breathing diseases in people who sit in day in and day out. Yeah? It's affecting the health of the elderly and the infants. The noise is so much, it's leading to anxiety levels. Sound insulation is something very important, which unfortunately in India still there are no proper laws. Yes, there are industrial laws that your sound should not be more than this much dB, but those are industrial norms. In residential areas, the outside noise, whether a train passing or the street noise, is so high. And it's the infants and the elderly who are actually living a very anxious life, hypertensions and all that. So these are things, I mean very small things, but we can just relate to it, that the smart construction, yes. If I have to talk of mega trend, fast construction, yeah, we need fast construction. We need construction that requires less labor. Now, in COVID times, people have gone back. There is acute shortage of labor in Mumbai, and so in all metro cities where there's major construction going on. People who have gone back to Bihar and Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal, they're not wanting to come back. It's led to a lot of labor shortage, and the costs are escalating because of that. The developers here, if some of them are sitting here, they know they are flying in the labors in flights now, which was never heard of. Yeah. So these are the mega trends. However, coming back, so like We as Tikidan, we are helping the smart construction by providing a watertight structure wherever required. Yeah? You can eliminate there from whatever kind of a structure you have, you can eliminate the moisture from the structures. Yeah? It would lead to good health. Sound insulation, another aspect of it. Yeah? We can provide that thing, and so many other companies. I'm not just sitting here to market Tikidan, but the thing is, the technologies are there for the people here. Yeah? They are available from different companies, very good technologies, and they should be adopted. Yeah. RERA has come up with a lot of quality things, that the construction now should be of quality. However, we still find, as manufacturers and as we are there in the space, we still find that the attention that should be paid to the kind of technology being used. Yeah. Thermal insulation, another thing. The whole world is moving to an energy crisis. Yeah. Not just because of the Russia-Ukraine war, but even otherwise, there is acute shortage of energy. Just yesterday, I was seeing a news on Vion. Singapore has put up huge solar farms in Australia, and that energy would be brought to Singapore by electrical lines which are 4,500 kilometers. Amazing. It shows that the world is reeling under energy crisis, and unless we gear up to saving energy, I always say one thing, like my grandfather used to say, a rupee saved is a rupee earned. In a similar way, every unit of energy saved is a unit of energy generated. And then it leads to so many things, carbon footprint, and we can talk on and on and on. To generate energy, it's a huge carbon footprint. We can save that. And there are thermal insulations which can be put in buildings. How many of us sitting here, I know Deben, we were just talking and you have a house which is insulated, but how many of us sitting here has a house which is thermally insulated? So we can provide all these technologies to the market, to the people. We have a team to educate on these subjects. And these are topics which every individual sitting here should take it up. So not just thinking in terms of smart, but it's directly affecting our health, your health, yeah, the health of our loved ones, and that's what we should look at.
Great. Now moving to Tejwant. You know, we spoke about water conservation, energy conservation. So these green initiatives, which, you know, organizations like IGBC or GREHA are you know, they come up with the guidelines and they keep on improving those. So is there a need to look beyond the green ratings? Yeah. And if you can share some of the experiences you have and talk about it.
Surely, yeah, thank you. So as all of us are aware, actually, am I audible? Okay, so as my co-panelists have been talking about, you know, various initiatives, you know, like most of us are aware of the green rating in terms of IGBC or GREHA or many other similar type of initiatives to rate buildings. Now, when we talk of construction of building, because our topic today is construction, new ways to construct a building. To me, construction is beyond brick, mortar and cement. You know, it's much more. The equipment that go in, the machinery goes in, that itself also becomes a construction phase itself. Now, as Deben has mentioned, you know, all of us are generally aware of the green initiatives that are in vogue. Most of the buildings are aiming, if not achieving, because most of the buildings are at least compliant to ECBC, that is the Energy Conservation Building Code. They are all compliant, they are guidelines, but they are complying. So effectively, even if they are not certified, most of us at least aim to adhere to the recommendations in the green initiatives. But what I find now is that if you look at any of these green initiatives, they are restricting themselves to the building, the built environment. But a building, typically I'm not looking at residential for the time being, I'm looking at buildings which are housing, for use for hospitals, hotels, factories, and various cities like Lagoon that my friend talked about. So building energy consumption, it's good to save energy, but in a residential environment, the amount of energy that is consumed in itself is not as high. Similarly, if you look at a process industry, I mean, you could look at data centers, you could look at hospitals, you could look at factories per se. So the percentage of energy consumed in process requirement is almost 70 to 80% as compared to the building requirement. Building requirement is what? Water, lighting, and small power, some convenience sockets, that's it. But 80% of a building's energy goes in the process. And if you closely look at the IGBC or GRIA or any of the initiatives, green initiatives, basically we are talking of percentage of non-process consumption is got to be made into solar. So we talk of 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%. Basically we are talking of non-process. What about the process? So process is conveniently ignored, meaning thereby that we need to really focus on ways to improve the process consumption such that the overall building carbon footprint that we are all talking about, the emissions, the carbon emissions, the greenhouse gas emissions, all these are under control if the process itself is taken into, given adequate control. Now, for example, data centers. If you look at a typical data center, first of all, you earmark something like a 400, 500 square feet of a data center, where you cool it to the requirement of the equipment, the racks. And there is a lot of lighting and energy which is spent in cooling that room, where the racks are basically, you create cold aisle and hot aisle and stuff like that. But what if I create a micro data center? That means if I have the entire racks housed in a fully integrated cooling and lighting and all that is required in terms of process energy is built into that. Automatically my footprint of the racks itself versus the footprint of the actual server room would be almost 20%, which means my energy consumption would be considerably lowered if I just look at these micro data centers. So I'm cooling only that portion which requires cooling. And I'm not cooling the whole room, and thereby I can actually save energy in the entire building. Similarly, there are many such examples one can look at where we really need to focus on, sort of trying to reduce the energy in a building overall. Another important aspect that I have seen during my course of looking at buildings is it's good to get a green rating. It's very nice to achieve your targets of gold or platinum. But what happens is, over a period of time, we find that basically the green initiative is largely focused on designers. But who ensures that the building maintains its efficiency? It's the maintenance guys, and they are totally unaware of what is a green building. I have conducted a lot of continuing education programs for technicians to tell them about green buildings. What is it? What is it that is a green building maintenance requirements? It is not reactive maintenance. Now we are looking at proactive maintenance. We are looking at predictive maintenance. And the whole lot of IT, etc. progress in IoT solutions can make this very much possible. So we need to introduce these type of innovation into the building to monitor what we achieved. That was our dream. Where are we today? Are we close, or are we really achieving that? Because one important factor when you design is that, as you are all aware, designers size a particular thing based on some assumptions, some thumb rules, some amount of inputs given by the process designer. But very often the designer will always err on the safer side. He'll always ensure that this room is so cool that nobody complains instead of making it optimum. So what happens is that if you have something like an IoT solution in place where I'm monitoring the health of my equipment which is installed on a continuing basis, I'm able to actually maintain my dream and course correct the building so that it is maintaining its efficiency throughout the life of the entire building. That's what we make it as sustainable. What do you mean by sustainable? Sustainable is that where I started, it is status quo and improvements. And what are the innovations that I'm adding? Because technology is continually increasing every day. Every day there is a new thing happening. You have looked at hydrogen today, you have looked at solar, as he said, going from Australia to Singapore. But today it is electrical cable which is going there. But tomorrow there is hydrogen which could go from Australia to Singapore. Problem with solar is that it is in the day, it is adequate. Now, how do you store such things? These are the challenges before us designers, that we need to store what is available in the daytime for use in the night utilization. So effectively, a lot of factors which come in. By achieving a design doesn't mean that we have achieved that we sit back in glory. It's like, you have scored a century in one match, and then for the next 30 matches I'm happy to give my past experience. That's what is happening with today's buildings. You've designed a building, yes, LEED rated, platinum. 2 years, 3 years down the line, is it really platinum still? It's not, may not be. I'm not sure. The point I'm trying to drive is that we need to look at innovation in construction has a multiple facet to it. Design, of course, has to improve as to match technology. Side by side, we need to involve the maintenance people into the whole gamut of designing buildings. So their inputs are taken in, our inputs are given to them, move away from reactive maintenance to predictive and therefore proactive and predictive. Also look at things which are common sense. I'll just give you another small example of where you can actually reduce with simple thought process. Looking at a factory, because I was doing an audit for a factory where there were these plastic injection molding. Now this injection molding process obviously has a lot of, about 5% to 3 to 5% of wastage. Every batch, if you generated 10 tons of plastic bottles or plastic components, there will be at least 3 to 5% wastage. Now what this company used to do is, after the first shift, at say 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, they used to make the first shift, couple of guys wait and recycle this wastage material. That means that involved crushing and heating, two very intensive, energy intensive activities. It was very innocent activity. And when we audited, we found that there was a sudden spike at that point. So everybody said, oh, there's lighting coming on at 6 o'clock in the evening because of that. Obviously, lighting cannot cause that sort of spike. So we delved deeper and we found that this is what was happening. And what happens is, if you are all aware, there is a electrical tariff which is based on time of day. That means I'm paying 25% more from 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the evening to 10 o'clock evening. And I'm paying 25% less from 10 o'clock night to 6 o'clock morning. So all that we suggested is just shift this process from 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock to midnight. And the entire saving was almost 7 to 8% saving was achieved. So effectively what we are trying to drive is, looking at construction is not purely about technology. It's not always technical, it's not always expensive. It's all about applying yourself, understanding the process in a much better, deeper manner, so that we can actually derive a more smart and efficient and a sustainable building.
So, just a follow-up question, a very quick answer. You've been very critical of what's happening so far. Is there any improvement in last 2.5, 3 years when we've gone through this phase of pandemic? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel where we see things improving? Is the construction industry changing and adopting to the new ways of construction or smart ways of construction?
Yeah, there is
Quick answer here.
Yeah, there's no straight answer to that, because there are changes. Obviously, people are changing, but the rate of change, as I would call it, is not as rapid. Of course, pandemic has played a role in the sense that we've been away from people and also equipment. So we are away from all of it. Activities of construction also was largely status quo.
But has it triggered the adoption of technology or not, in your view?
Yeah, I think people have adopted, but we need to do much more into bringing the newer things into play.
Subhakar, your views?
To
Have things changed? Or are we still living a pre-pandemic era?
No, I think things have changed, particularly say, for example, we have a prefab division which does a ton of quick construction, either wood houses, container houses, all of that. We've seen speed of construction really take off. Say in the lagoon side of our business, we obviously have to use technology. For example, the way you would clean your 10-acre lagoon is no longer based on just chlorine. It is based on using technology which basically uses waves to clean these water bodies. Things like that. So speed of execution through using existing prefabricated homes, prefabricated units has taken off. So there is less environmental pollution on site. Then when it comes to lagoons, use of newer technologies. And then say some of our lagoons are being used for, like Tejwant said, for cooling data centers. This is like a unique byproduct, right? You have a large water body, it creates a bunch of cooling capability, which can be positioned to the data center next door as a cooling solution as well. So technologies like this are evolving.
Prashant, how has technology changed design?
Yes, post-pandemic, there have been changes from the design standpoint. People have become more aware of how to design an eco-friendly structure, how to design something that is hygienically good for a human being to stay safe and encapsulated in a room for probably months together. So people are aware of what products they are using. For example, a residential apartment which would get an ordinary paint at one point of time, the developer or the designer is more willing to apply a paint that is low VOC emission and eco-friendly paint, because he at the back of his mind thinks that you never know, any such situation might rise again. The entire planning criteria have changed. People are looking at homes which are outside densely populated metros. Again, at the back of the mind, idea is you never know if anything of this sort might happen again. So people are trying to play safe. People have become very tech savvy, working from home, working across countries, across borders, using high quality softwares, working from home, enabling the entire network. The fiber network has reached practically every second home now, even in smaller cities, tier 2, tier 3. So yes, from this.
How has Tikidan, the Moza, transformed in terms of technology, which it used to provide before pandemic and after pandemic, it's virtually over?
So the technologies have been there even before the pandemic, but the things that are coming in after pandemic is people are looking at faster construction. People are looking at more mechanized construction because of the labor shortage. To give you one quick example, like in Japan, they are already doing buildings with M150 concrete, grade concrete. Now, with that high strength concrete, what can really be done is the size of the columns and beams can be reduced drastically. In a city like Mumbai, where per square feet space is so costly, it increases your carpet area. And all these kind of technologies are coming in. However, one thing I would like to say, the developers generally always look at cost because they have to sell their product. And if the end consumer is also looking at cost, which obviously they would, it becomes difficult for the technologies to be adopted. This is where the government and the policies of the government will play a very important role. The codes will play a very important role because without that, these things are optional. One good developer comes up with a building, he uses all smart construction, gives very good construction or the property to his customers. However, there are hundreds others who are not adopting the technology. So it has to be a mass movement, which can only be brought about by proper policies of the government.
Thank you. Now, we have run short of time. We have 4 minutes for audience to ask questions to the panelists. Yes, sir. Any particular panelist you want that to address?
We all know we've been talking about technologies last 2 decades now. So why is it there is a hesitation in using technologies? One, is it cost? Like you already said, there is a cost element. Second, is it greed for profits, especially by the so-called residential sector or the developer community? Or the third one is inability to upskill your own people to handle technologies. I think that's very, very vital. There is access to technology, there are technologies. But then why are we not deploying them? If it is mindset, I don't agree. Mindsets can be changed. Unless I say I'm going to be penalizing you for not wearing the seat belt, we are not going to be wearing the seat belt, including me. So mindset is not going to change. It will take decades. So are we doing something? I think the thought leadership out here, from a government perspective, from the industry perspective, are we doing something? So I think one of the answers is the people factor here. Mindset of people. Are we doing something to scale them up or skill them up?
I'll answer that. See, technology being smart doesn't mean adoption will be immediate. A lot of us look to, say, the local projects saying who else is implementing. And if the implementation is not so popular across your region, you tend to wait to see, okay, let me not be the guinea pig, let someone else deploy. So this kind of inhibits technology rollout. For example, the lagoons technology is implemented in 800 projects world over, but not one in India till now. You go to all the water parks in India, water is muddy, it's not really clean, you don't see turquoise blue waters. All this technology has existed. What are they waiting for? They're waiting for someone else to come in and bring it locally in India. They know it's existing outside. So I would say technology will be adapted if there is a front runner who takes that lead and takes the risk and does it first in your local area, and then promotes that by ensuring others also adapt to it.
So I think it's a combination of all three reasons you said. We're very scared of adopting something which is new, unknown to us. Skill sets is another example where people are not trained, and this is something which Hemant pointed out. We're not taught about technology in the colleges. So we still are taught the primitive ways of construction. So, and the cost finally is there. But I think, what we've seen in last 2 decades is transformation happening. It's very slow, but definitely there is a want of completing projects faster, and that cannot happen without the technology. And slowly it is happening. So we are witnessing a lot of technologies, whether it's BIM modeling or whether it's precast construction, and whether it's monitoring the construction with the cameras and drones. These are happening, but at a very slow pace. Any other question?
Hi, how are you doing? I'm Nashan. I was wondering, we spoke a lot about technology adoption in terms of construction. Like Sir mentioned, we have, let's say, technologies to extract the moisture out of building walls. But what about technology in terms of projects, in terms of remotely managing your construction sites, where you're able to, let's say, do your snag management remotely, automate your progress reports, etc. Is this something interesting to you? For example, BIM integration, where you're able to compare actual images, 360 images of your sites, alongside your BIM model. So is this something exciting to you sitting there?
Yes, technology involving today, automation has moved to the next stage, with IoT and all evolving. For example, in the lagoon technology mix, we're using telemetry. 800 lagoons in 800 different cities across the world are being monitored out of one single control center using telemetry pods which go into each of the lagoons. Similarly, for all of our prefabricated sites, we have 360-degree cameras, things like that, which are giving actual visual of temperature, actual site metrics, all of that.
So is it interesting to you to have analytics such as measurement tools or even, let's say, automating your progress reporting through machine learning capabilities? Is that something that is happening right now, or is it something that you would like to have on the roadmap of products?
It is happening. As I said, the adoption is very slow, but yes, the reporting tools are being automated. You have predictive analysis, you have artificial intelligence, all built in, so that you're not reinventing the wheel every time. So that's the reason I'm saying that it has to start from the curriculum in the colleges, where students like software engineers, they're taught the languages. So similarly, the new technologies in construction and managing the construction is very important. So till the time you don't teach people, I'll give an example. When I graduated from the college, AutoCAD was very new, and those days it was DOS-based AutoCAD. It took us, 10 years from adopting AutoCAD. Now every design firm uses AutoCAD. Similarly, if you see BIM, slowly every company is adopting, or all the clients are asking for BIM because it eases the speed of the construction. Every information is collated in one software. So it not only helps in construction, but it also helps in maintaining the building.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to put something more. So there are different kind of things in the whole, if you look at holistically. So one is the design part, another is execution, and the third is monitoring. Yeah, these are the broad aspects of any project. Yeah. Already from a design perspective, a lot of new softwares and STAD and AutoCAD has now become a very, very basic, but then there are very advanced softwares that are there for designing the things. Yeah. Come to execution, which today is, I would say, still in a very primitive stage, because as you are saying, monitoring of the projects and all by cameras or something, and somebody monitors it somewhere, that's one part of it. But then execution, like 3D printing is coming in. Yeah. You just feed it into the system and you hardly need any manpower there. And the building can be constructed by 3D. Yeah. So, everything comes into that.
We are over time by 4 minutes. Any further questions,
so
please feel free to ask the panelists when we are having the networking session. So I would like to close this panel discussion with a quote from Godfrey Reggio. And it reads that it's not that the technology we use, we live technology. With that, I would like to thank all the panelists for sharing their views and giving us insight to what technology is doing in their respective fields. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. And if I could request all our speakers to please remain on the stage. And ladies and gentlemen, a very insightful discussion. And I'd like to invite Sapna Srivastava, editor, Realty Plus, to please come on stage and present a token of gratitude to all our amazing speakers for sharing their valuable thoughts with all of us this evening.
Sure.
We're going to request you all to come together for a group photograph.